Hey, Dr. Joe's in the house, and on this wonderful Wednesday, I hope it's well wherever you are. And we've got another good session lined up as usual. We're going to be talking about hard money. And for those people who don't know what hard money is, we're going to cover all that: the good, the bad, the ugly, why you should use it, why you shouldn't use it, when does it make sense, and when does it not make sense. So it's going to be I think it's going to be a good session. I think you'll enjoy it. And so let's have a look. Hold on. Make sure I get everything here. Okay. A little technical issue on Facebook, it looks like. So hopefully everybody can hear me on. We're going to try Instagram today for the first time, and so on. So anyway, so we're going to talk about hard money, when and how to use them, and the good, the bad, the ugly. I'll share some of my experiences. I'm not, I've used it several times, not a lot, but I think it's worthy because a lot of people are, especially during these current times where it's changing. It's always good to know what source of financing you can have to do your deals, and it's best to line them up now before the deals are set for closing. And hard money is quite attractive for a lot of people, and so I thought it was worthy to talk about it because getting money is always a good idea, and it's always best to line up your financing before you need it. So anyway, so let's get down to it. As usual, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box, and I will get to them in about 20-25 minutes. Anything to do with real estate investing. Any deals that you're looking at, any problems, issues, challenges that you're facing, and you can kind of leverage on my 35 plus years experience in real estate investing. Check that out. If you want to book a one-on-one with me, where we can do a deep dive into any subject that you have, any issues, challenges, landlord, tenant, investing, rehabs, BRRRR, Section 8, whatever it is. Again, leverage on my 35 plus years experience. We can do a deep dive. Just go to my website, www.joeasimo.com. That's www.joeasimo.com, and press on the Ask Dr. Joe button. I had a great session yesterday with Kevin. It was yesterday. Good session. They're in LA and looking at the deal. And we talked about private financing, getting the money to fund their deals, and also talked about Section 8 and for their current building that they have. So if you want to do a one-on-one with me, go to my website, joeasimo.com, and you can book a one-on-one session. So with that said and done, let's get down to it today. All about hard money, when and how to use them. So, here's the bottom line. Are you tired of losing deals because financing takes too long? I know for a while I was using traditional financing. Those days where it takes 30 days, 45 days to get a deal through. You got to provide all your documentation. You got to provide your tax returns. You got to provide your W-2s. You got to do a detailed credit, cost benefit, not cost benefit, sort of loan to value, and also your debt to income ratio, all that stuff that you had to do for traditional full documentation loans. And many times I've lost deals because it was just taking too long to get it approved. And so if you've ever watched the deal go, slip through your fingers, really, because the traditional financing just moved too slowly or didn't come through at all, then, I think you can sort of relate to what I'm saying. Many new intermediate seasoned investors, face the frustrations of losing opportunities due to rigid timelines, underwriting delays, and red tapes of banks. The infamous, what do they call those banks? The loan committee. We'll have to go to the loan committee to see if we can approve this and so forth. Well, that's why hard money loans have become one of the most important tools in an investor's playbook. It's a tool in your playbook. I'm not saying you should always use it, but it's always good to know about it and always good to have access to it in the event you need to use it. So unlike conventional loans, hard money loans are asset-based, funded by primarily private investors or private lenders, and really designed for speed. They're ideal for time-sensitive deals where time is of the essence, distressed properties, properties that pretty crappy condition where most banks wouldn't touch it. And also it's good for when you have lenders who don't meet traditional credit standards, in the sense that their FICO score may be too low. They may not have W-2 income. They could be self-employed. All the stuff that, many lenders may frown upon or would, may sort of dismiss. So use wisely. Hard money can give you speed, leverage, because sometimes you can borrow more. And also you can get access to deals that others can't touch, especially people who have to go with traditional financing or FHA or VA financing, things like that. However, used poorly, they can eat away your profits, or worse, it can sink your project. It can make you go under. So what we're going to talk about today in this live stream is to explore how to master hard money loans across different strategies by drawing on the wins and losers, or losses, I suppose, of my experiences and also from other real estate investors. So you'll walk away hopefully with actionable steps, cautionary tales, and the blueprint to use this tool for long-term portfolio success. Okay, so as usual, I broke it down to 6 parts. And so we've done the introduction. Let's get down to number 1, which is, what are hard money loans? And, do a little primer for those people who may not be familiar with it. I suppose the question is, why are so many successful investors bypassing banks? And what do they know that you may not know? Okay, so hard money loans are really short-term, high interest rate loans provided by private lenders, as I mentioned before. The primary consideration is the property itself, not so much your credit score, not so much on your W-2. Now, nowadays, many hard money lenders are keen to understand what your credit score is. So I wouldn't say that, it's not important. It is important, but they're not going to ding you if your credit score is, is low, because it's really asset-based, which means that it's really based on the quality of the deal. And how much equity is in the property. So this asset-based approach allows investors like you and I to move quickly on properties that might otherwise be impossible to finance through conventional methods. I mean, you know what I do? I buy houses in pretty sad condition, and we fix them up, and then we refinance as part of the BRRRR process once we've got a tenant lined up. So because of the condition of these houses that I buy anyway, it's hard for traditional lenders to even consider it. So hard money becomes quite useful. And in the competitive market that we're in, it's still competitive where we are. Speed is very important. So, so the important thing is that the deal that you have, the property is undervalued, i.e. is below the market. Typically it's distressed, it needs some renovations, and some or mid-level or even major renovations. So these properties don't typically qualify for traditional financing, but with enough, as long as there's enough equity in the deal, a hard money lender may be willing to fund it, even if you've been turned down elsewhere. So this opens the door to faster closing. You can close fast. A hard money lender may be willing to fund it, and faster closing, more aggressive acquisitions, because you can close faster and because their debt to income is lower, higher, sorry, then you can, aggressively acquire more properties. And the more properties you can do, hopefully, the more you can build your portfolio. So still, hard money isn't cheap. And rates, they vary anywhere from 8-9% all the way to 15-16%. And lenders many times charge what we call points. And the points could be anywhere from 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points up front. And that's why seasoned investors treat hard money as a strategic tool, using it only when the numbers work and never when the numbers don't work. Okay, I mean, you don't want to use it if it doesn't make any sense. You don't want to use it if it's on marginal deals. It's got to be enough meat in the deal to make it worthwhile, because the costs are higher. So what are some of the action items you may want to consider right now in terms of learning more about hard money loans? Learn some terminologies that's commonly used by hard money lenders, things like LTV, loan to value, ARV, after repair value, points, loan terms, debt to income, and things like that. Start conversations with local hard money lenders before you need funding. So you want to start priming the wheels now, so that way you have your sort of pre-qualified before you need it. And also you can look at some deal calculators to analyze whether the returns justify the cost of hard money. So that's number one, what's hard money? And let's get down to number two, which is when to use hard money. And a question, I suppose, is the deal worth paying more for speed and flexibility? Does it make sense to use hard money on this deal that you're looking at? So the decision to use hard money should never be emotional. It should be based on mathematics, and it should be on strategy. So the right time to use hard money is when speed, flexibility, and access matter more than cost. Okay, speed is important, flexibility in terms of the type of deal it is, and and access, you can get into the deal in and out. That's more important, and you're prepared to pay a little premium for that, and so on. So that often means that fix and flip opportunities, BRRRR properties needing quick purchase and rehab, auction deals, or some of those are the scenarios that make sense for what do you call it, hard money. I know through auctions. I used to buy house at auctions a few years back, where at least in Maryland and the Washington DC area, you got a certain number of days which you got to close, and if you can't close, you stand a chance of losing your deposit, and therefore time is of the essence. So that's when sometimes you want to use hard money, because lenders have more flexible requirements. So hard money makes sense when you need to act fast, especially in competitive markets like you're in, where cash buyers dominate. So for BRRRR investors, hard money enables you to acquire, rehab, and once the property is sort of stabilized and has income, then you can leverage the increase in value to refinance. Another way people use it for is bridge financing, where you need money, quickly because you're waiting for financing elsewhere. So the key is knowing when the cost of missing the deal is greater than the cost of the loan itself. So what are some of the action items associated with part two, which is when to use hard money? Well, use hard money when the deal won't work for a traditional bank. And I will suggest that you may want to consider creating a matrix to determine when hard money is the best fit solution. And also always have a clear exit strategy before accepting a hard money loan. And because there are timelines, there are penalties if you don't pay up before the due date. Okay, so that's number two. And we'll get to number three, which is the real cost of hard money, the real customer. So far we've talked about what is hard money. We've also talked about when to use hard money. And now we're going to talk about the cost, the real cost of hard money. I suppose the question is, do you really know what you're paying? And is it worth it? Okay, hard money is expensive by design. You're paying a premium for speed and flexibility. But many investors underestimate the full cost. Things like, you got to consider things like origination points, interest payments, extension fees, and closing costs. They all add up. And if you're not careful, it can quickly eat up and consume all the profits that you may make. So the most successful investors accept that the costs are high, but they also plan for it. They build in a profit cushion, assume that delays will happen, and also they have contingencies, a little reserve funds for rainy day funds, just in case things happen. Maybe it takes longer to close. There could be some permit issues. There could be, construction delays. I mean, there's lots of things that happen. And so you want to make sure you got a contingency fund, so that way you don't go under during that period of time. So other investors also obviously compare loan options. And if you got some experience, you may be able even to negotiate better terms from the lenders. So when many investors get, where they get in trouble is, failing to understand the timeline. That's a really important one, because sometimes you have these loans which are due in 6 months or a year, and for whatever reason, the project is just taking much longer than that. And so they run into problems. So rehab that goes on over by 2 months may lead to thousands of additional interest loan payments. It can be expensive. So a refinance delay, for example, can also mean a loan extension fee, which is due. Or if you got some really, really mean lenders, they could even put you into default and go after the property. So understanding your numbers, your lender's terms, and the timeline becomes very important. You see, in fact, it's essential to making hard money work for you. So what are some of the action items associated with the real cost of hard money? Always build a 10 to 15% contingency buffer into your budget. Ask lenders for a full list of fees, penalties, and terms up front. You want to go in with your eyes open and not sort of get dazzled and a lamb to a slaughter, I suppose. Negotiate loan terms before closing based on the deal strength and also on your experience. So kind of halfway through so far, and we're going to move forward yet. But again, if you got some questions, please put them in the chat box, and I'll get to them in about 10 minutes or so. And likewise, anything to do with real estate, put them in there, and I'll get to them. And if you want to book a one-on-one with me, you can go to my website, Dr. Joe, which is Joe Asamoah www.joeasamoah.com. That's www.joeasamoah.com. And more than happy to do a deep dive with any situation, any challenges that you're experiencing at this point. Okay, let's get down to keep continuing. Number 4. So we're on 4 of 6 now. I may throw in a bonus 1-7. Anyway, so choosing the right hard money lender. Choosing the right hard money lender. That's a good one. Is okay. So you know that you need it. So who should you go with? I suppose the question is your lender helping you succeed, or are they setting you up for failure? Okay. So the relationship with your hard money lender is very, very important. And you have to consider a lot of things more than just what's the rates. Good lenders want your deals to succeed because they're looking for long-term relationships. They're looking for repeat business. The good ones tend to be more responsive. They're transparent. You know exactly what you're getting into, and they're experienced. They've done this many, many times before. Now, bad lenders can cost you money. Cost you a lot of money, more than money. They can cost you your deal. They can delay closings, or even they can. Some of them are just so underhanded. They want the property, and so if you do anything that's outside the loan terms, they can initiate foreclosure, and especially if the project is dragging on. So savvy investors vet lenders like partners. They ask things about funding, timelines, decision-making processes, how are issues handled, how are inspections done, how many draws can you do. They read the fine print. They also choose lenders who understand their market. They understand the local area that you're doing. And you want lenders who've done this before. They have experience on, the type of projects that you're doing. So if they got experience in hotels and industrial, that may not be relevant to what you're trying to do if you're doing this single family residential. So you want somebody who's experienced in this sort of asset class that you're in. And you don't just want a lender, you want a financing partner who sees your vision, believes in your numbers, and also will work with you to make the project a success. Okay, a partner. And some of the action items associated with choosing the right hard money lender. Interview at least 3 to 5 hard money lenders before you're doing your first deal. Choose a lender who understands your local market and deal strategy. What's your exit strategy? Is it fix and flip? Is it BRRRR? Is it wholesale? I mean, what are you doing? And make sure your lender has the liquidity and the experience to fund your deal reliably. I mean, you don't want your lender to run out of money. Because that could obviously impact you because now you don't have enough money to close the deal. So let's keep on going to number 5. 5 common pitfalls and associated hard money and how to avoid them. I suppose the question is, what are the mistakes that cost the investors the most, and how can you hopefully sidestep them? So the list of hard money horror stories is long, and to a certain extent, it's avoidable. Investors often fall into traps by failing to account for delays, maybe over leveraging themselves. They're borrowing too much money for the asset, or assuming that they can refinance easily, and for whatever reason, it's just taking too long, or they may not be able to refinance it, which means they can't get out of the loan. So projects do go over budget, markets do shift, contractors do walk off the job. So without a cushion, any of these issues can turn into financial disasters. Another common mistake is treating hard money like long-term financing. It's not. It's short-term financing. It's short-term, high-cost capital meant to get you in and out quickly. Get out. If you don't have a clear exit plan, or access to long-term financing, you're really rolling the dice. And so the smartest investors anticipate problems and plan accordingly. They vet contractors, double check comps, overestimate repairs, timelines, and know their lenders' processes and what their rules are inside and out. They also stay in constant communications with the lenders, their team, and also their buyers or the renters. So some of the action items associated with step 5, common pitfalls. Keep reserve funds, again, available for project overruns. Know your refinance criteria and timeline before you close, and stay in a weekly contact with your lender during the loan period. Okay, stay in contact. Communication is always a good way to maintain relationships. So finally, number 6 is hard money plus BRRRR, a powerful combination. And so the question is, how do successful investors use hard money to scale with little or of their own cash? So hard money is often used, like I do, with the BRRRR strategy. That's the buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat. You buy with hard money, you renovate quickly, you rent it out, and you refinance into conventional financing, pulling your capital out so you can repeat the process again and again and again. So done right, this cycle builds wealth fast with minimal cash required, especially after the first deal. Now, investors who master this combination, they build systems. Things like contractors have a good contractor team that can work and move fast. Lenders who pre-approve refinance loans, and property managers who are ready to lease the unit immediately. Okay, you have to have certain systems in place if you want to do this successfully. So timing is very important. In fact, it's everything. If you can complete the BRRRR cycle in 6 months or less, you're minimizing your interest payments and maximizing your returns. But the risk is real. If your property doesn't appraise, and you can't get that to ARV after repair value, then your refinance may fall short. So if it doesn't rent quickly, that's not a problem. Your lender may not count it as stabilized. They want to see a lease to confirm that you're getting income. And obviously, the greater the lease or the monthly payments, the better it is for you in terms of borrowing funds. So execution must be tight, timelines must be respected, and margins must be strong. Okay, so line up some of the action items is to line up your finances and discuss their underwriting criteria. Track all renovation progress with before and after photos and receipts, and maintain 90 days worth of reserves in case the refinance is delayed. So, my friends, I'm going to wrap it up. I have one more, but that's going to be talk about fix and flip. But the important thing is that, if you're going to do fix and flip, don't over improve. You don't want to run out of money. They know the neighborhood. They know the market. They know how much to allocate for holding costs. And many times they stage their properties to give it that emotional appeal. So hopefully they can sell the house quicker. So if you're going to do it, take it seriously. And finally, in the conclusion, hard money. Hard money mastery is it's really a strategic advantage. If you can really study and become an expert in how to use and how to leverage hard money, you can use it to your benefit. Because hard money loans are not for every deal, but for the right deal, they can change your investing game. When used wisely, they provide speed, leverage, and access. But when used poorly, they create stress, losses, and regret. The difference is preparation and planning, and also your mindset. Okay, the best investors treat hard money like a scalpel, not a sledgehammer. They use it to make precision moves that others can't do, and they build strong lender relationships. They know the numbers inside out and execute with confidence. So whether you're scaling your portfolio, flipping for cash, or bridging the gap between opportunities, hard money can be your most valuable financial tool. My friend, that is it. So we're going to transition to Ask Dr. Joe. So if you've got some questions, please put them in the chat box, and I'll definitely get to them in a few minutes. It could be on anything to do with real estate. And if you want to shoot me an email, you can shoot me an email at joe@joeasamoah.com, joe@joeasamoah.com. And if you want to book a one-on-one with me, where we can do a deep dive into a situation that you're facing, a challenge that you're experiencing, or you just want to run the scenario by somebody else, you can book a one-on-one with me. Go to my website, www.joeasamoah.com, and let's get it going. So, my friends, that is it for today's Wealth Wednesday discussion part. I'm going to go to some of the questions and see if I can answer. Again, if you got some questions, please put them in the chat box. Nesta Can. I missed last week's show. I now have a timer on my phone, which lets me know when you're on. I enjoy all your episodes. Oh, thank you, Nesta. Kind words. Let's have a look. Let's continue. I've been trying to take out a loan out of my rental property, but some lenders told me no due to the house being on an LLC. Okay. Should I get a hard money loan on my rental? Who are some of the companies that provide these loans? Okay, got it. So let's go to Nesta's questions. Again, if you got some questions, put them in the chat box, and I'll get to them any second from now. So Nesta has been trying to take out a loan on his rental property, but for whatever reason, the lender is saying no because it's an LLC. Well, that could be. I know a lot of traditional lenders, traditional lenders, they will not borrow money with that's titled in LLCs. They usually like it in your personal name or a personal name, whether it be you, your spouse, or whatever it is, as opposed to Nesta LLC. They prefer it be titled into Nesta. But there are lenders out there who they don't mind. I know nowadays a common one is the what do you call that thing? The DSCR loans, debt service coverage ratio loans. That's becoming quite popular. In fact, I've done a couple of those. I like them because the rates are very reasonable compared to commercial lenders. And the thing I also like about them is that the rates are pretty good. And, they don't usually require full documentation, and they are open to investors, and they can move fast. And a lot of these DSCR lenders, they have a lot of money, waiting to be deployed. So they're not, many times they're not going to run out of money. But you have to do your due diligence. You have to check them out, make sure that they're legit and they know what they're doing. And hopefully you're not going to get, a short end of the stick, as they say. So that's the first thing, is that if it's in your LLC, if you want the traditional lender to finance it, then you're going to have to take it out of your LLC into your personal name, and either take it out of your personal name and back into the LLC once the financing has been complete. Alternatively, you just find a lender that will borrow you the money in an LLC. So you don't have to. I do not recommend using an LLC. Funding your acquisition and renovations, with hard money, if you don't have a clear exit strategy. You must have a lender that's going to borrow you money based on the asset and also based on the loan to value that you have. Okay, so let's just keep going on this Nestor's question. Should I get a hard money loan on my rentals? It depends what your end game is. There are lenders that will allow you to pull some equity, and so you maybe have to do a cash out refinance. So that's something worthwhile. Many times, your property is just sitting there, not really making earning interest, and there could be some opportunities that come by the way that may make sense for you to tap into the equity. So, so the question: should I get a hard money lender on my loan, on my rental loan? It's subjective. It depends, and there's quite a few lenders that that do these loans. You can go to Bigger Pockets website, maybe go to the forums and throw in the question. I'm sure there'll be several people that will respond. You can go to a local real estate investor association meeting. Typically, a lot of these lenders are there. You can ask around. You can put feelers out in terms of who's borrowing money. Also, if you can, you may want to attend a real estate investor association, a RIA meeting, where many times lenders, they attend these events. So it's a good time to get FaceTime with them and so on. So hopefully that answers that question, Nestor. So that's 7:32. I'm going to wrap it up shortly. But if you got some questions, please put them in and I'll try to get to them ASAP. So again, if you got some questions, put them in the chat box and I'll get to them in a few minutes. Crooklyn X, what's the best entry-level job related to real estate? Or do you think it's smarter to start a career in another field and invest savings from said field into real estate? That's a good question, Crooklyn. The best entry-level job, it depends. What would I recommend here? I think the most important thing is surround yourself with like-minded people who are in this business, people who are doing what it is that you want to do. And you can try to, develop relationships with them, leverage their experiences and learn from their mistakes and so on. So, I think it's, I'm leery to give you a recommendation, but I know what I did anyway. When I first started out, I was working, I had a W-2 income, but my job was a means to an end. It wasn't the end. I wasn't trying to be, the CEO of IBM or anything like that. It wasn't of interest to me. I needed a job in order to get a loan. Okay. So, and that was clear to me. So, obviously I worked hard at my job, to keep the job, but I wasn't so fixated whereby that's all I did. I needed a plan B. I needed to have my best interest in mind as well. So I used my job, to save money, and the money I saved, I also did house hacking, where I lived in one part of the house and rented other parts of the house. So I was able to drive my housing costs down to zero, and therefore I was able to save the money, and I use the savings to acquire properties. So hopefully that makes sense. So I think it's, in terms of best entry-level job, I think you want to pick a job or a field that you're interested in. You got 30, 40 years of your life, and you got to have some interest in what you're doing. Otherwise, it becomes a drag. It becomes, very frustrating. So I would say find what it is that you enjoy, what you love to do. And obviously you want to try and get a job in that field. short of that, if you got a job and, you can save money, hopefully, and therefore use that job as a means to buy future properties, and then you should be fine. There's different ways that you can proceed. I'm not going to say which is the best way. I've tried one of them. It worked for me. I had a regular job. I worked very, very hard. And while I was working, I was looking into real estate. And, and so I was able to kill two birds with one stone, as they say. So that's what I did. And so I'm not too sure if that makes sense, Crooklyn. But, find out what you're interested in and zero in on that. But you definitely want to save money. If you can't save money, you're going to have a really hard time. If you can do a house hacking where you are, I think that may be worthwhile as well. Let's have a look. You said, I saw you on years ago on Bigger Pockets. Loved your strategy. Been following you ever since. Good. I listen and read a lot about REI. Hopefully I can put into action soon. Thanks for answering my question. Yeah, I mean, I think also, Crooklyn, is at some point, you're going to have to pull the trigger. I mean, you can always, listen to more podcasts or listen to more gurus or whatever. At the end of the day, you can't achieve financial independence unless you pull the trigger. You have to. You can't read your way into financial independence. You have to take action. So I'm very pleased that you've been following me. I'm very pleased that you've read a lot about real estate investing. I'm very, very happy about that. But I think that what you may want to do is to pick a niche that you're interested in within real estate, whether it be fix and flip, buy and hold, wholesaling, whatever it is the niche is. Learn the basics of that. Work on your strengths, what you're good at, what you enjoy. Identify a mentor or somebody in your local area who's made mistakes, and they can kind of help you navigate the landmines that are in the waters. So that could be something useful. And but at some point you're gonna have to pull the trigger. That's the best way to learn. You can't learn by reading the books all the time. Sometimes at some point you just have to pull the trigger, take action. You're gonna make mistakes. Things aren't gonna always go as planned, but that's okay. If you got access to resources, whether it be experienced people, whatever, they can help you navigate. Because there's a pretty good chance that the scenario that you're facing, they may have faced it before as well. So, Crooklyn, thank you for following me, and hopefully I've been able to share with you some of my experiences as you move forward. So, with that said, my friends, I'm going to wrap it up for the day, and I hope that you have a wonderful evening, and we will talk hopefully next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So I'll see you then. Take care. Bye for now.